Okay. So we've got, the session is being recorded, and welcome to Member Spotlight. We're excited that all of you are here. We'll start in just a couple more minutes, but you can go back and look at the other Member Spotlight programs that we've got posted on our WAHHI.org website under Video Library. We've had some great interviews with Betty Hambleton, our current president, Sue Grossbeck, wave your hand, Sue, wave your hand, Betty. We've also featured Lisa Loneman. She works in, has worked in public health. Fantastic interview with Lisa as well. She's a newer member. We have Claudia today, and then we also are finishing big and strong here with Jane McAuliffe, from a newer member from Bluffton. So we're delighted to feature these 5 ladies this season being winter season before it's nice outside and we don't want to be doing Zoom anymore at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So hopefully you can go to the WAHHI.org website and look at the other interviews that have been done with other WAHHI ladies.
As original content. So there's 2 things. There's a device called Apple TV, and then
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everybody right now as we get ready for our session. And
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? I'm good. I got an offer from Carvana for 8,700, so that's what I'm gonna go with.
We've muted everybody on the call right now so that you can hear our interview with Claudia, and we'll go ahead and get started today. My name is Tamra Avrit. I'm the past president of WAHHI, and we're delighted that you're able to be here and participate on Zoom this afternoon. This is the 4th interview that we've been able to feature on our Member Spotlight. And at the end of the Spotlight, we are going to send you a quick little survey for feedback, letting us know what you thought about this, the Member Spotlight program, because it is a relatively new thing that we've been doing, getting to know our members around the association. And with over 900, can we say whoop, whoop? That's a whole lot of members that we've got to get to meet and greet and get to know. You've got, everybody's going to be muted. If you want to say something or, raise your hand, jump up and down, we'll try to catch you that way. Or use the chat pod, and we'll periodically take a look at the chat pod and see if there's questions that we need to answer. At the bottom of your screen, you should see some running transcription. That's our live transcript service. So it's about 80% right in getting the words right. Sometimes there's something that's funny that's typed in there, but hopefully you'll find that helpful as well. My inspiration for bringing this idea to Betty was really around meeting so many awesome women in our association, and how can we feature and connect people more better through the year. And it reminded me of when you would read like Fortune magazine or another publication, and there was the Dewar's Scotch ad that was always on the back of the magazine. I'm dating myself now, but it would say, what do they read? What do they like to do? What's their music they do? And they drink Dewar's, right? Well, I like to think that that Dos Equis may have the most interesting men in the world, but WAHHI has the most interesting women in the world. And that's what a little bit of our exploration of our new member series is here to figure out. So today we're featuring Claudia Auler, and Claudia is our president-elect for next year, which will be our 62nd year as a women's association. But before we begin with Claudia's introduction, we want to raise a toast because this is Women's History Month. So clink to women's history. And we're going to clink also to International Women's Day tomorrow. So we're going to celebrate women. Okay.
Thank you.
The wine's getting better.
That it certainly is.
So Claudia here has a lot of experience with finance. So she likes numbers. I had to do numbers, but she likes numbers. Most of her career was with Citibank in New York City. She started as a local branch manager and moved up through the ranks, managing 115 branches in New York City and also in Boston. And so she did hybrid work and remote work before it was COVID. And so we can explore that a little bit with her as well. She ran both the downtown and midtown markets. She went through the 9/11 experience in New York City and helped establish their retail presence in Boston. And I think as you go around either Boston, New York, if you've traveled there, you always see the blue city bikes.
Yeah.
God bless those bikes. They are awesome to get around in the city. We are excited to have Claudia on the island since 2016. She and her husband, Tim, moved. And she enjoyed the last 2 years, maybe not enjoyed is the right word, but she commuted to Atlanta for a bit of a time. And then she was the local SunTrust, now Truist branch manager. And that's actually how I got to know Claudia, because I was volunteering for SCORE at the time. And Claudia and I made that connection at a SCORE conference, and then began a friendship from there. So I'm delighted to know Claudia as both my president-elect and also as my friend. So Claudia, tell us a little bit about why did you join WAHHI and when?
Wow, I joined WAHHI in 2019. I had heard about it. I had just stopped commuting to Atlanta for 2 years and finally settling in here on the island. And I just had heard about it from one of my colleagues at work. And so I joined and got active right away. Just got involved in everything I could. And then I met Tracy Harris, I met you, I met Betty. I was your banker.
You were my banker.
And so you're the one that recruited
It's not
me.
like WAHHI has lots and lots of money, but we do have an operational checking account, you know, where those checks come and go. And so Claudia was our banker. And
Yeah.
she was very helpful in making sure we were all squared away, which is always what you want as a nonprofit. She's served as the Charitable Fund Grants Chair. And so she got to know a little bit more about WAHHI's philanthropy and how all of that process works, working with some awesome nonprofits that we've been able to do grants with. And she's also been an ambassador in Port Royal, welcoming a lot of new Port Royal members. And I think Port Royal's up to something like,
I think there might be over 100. So shout out to Port Royal. Where are you ladies?
whoop, whoop. And I
Yeah.
think they're having a watch party
Yeah.
in Port Royal for that as well. So we're excited. We're excited there to celebrate Claudia. Tell us a little bit about how you found your way to Hilton Head.
Well, we were looking around for, we just went on a vacation, actually, myself and my husband, and we came down here in 2015 and stayed at the Marriott, and we decided to have a realtor show us around, and she showed us the island, and we decided right then and there that we wanted to retire here. So at that time, we lived in New York, and this was going to be our vacation house. And so we did come down and enjoy it and loved it. And, you know, one thing led to the next. My husband ended up getting a job as a sales rep in South Carolina and North Carolina, selling the watches that the Navy SEALs wear. It's like, yes, a
Wow.
line. And so we decided to move here. So we just left my job, we sold our house, and here we were. We landed in South Carolina, in Hilton Head.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then how did you find your commute between Hilton Head and Atlanta?
Oh, okay. So, well, when I first got here, I wanted to do something fun. So I was about to get a job working for the Montage in Palmetto Bluff, the Montage Hotel, as the front desk manager.
Hold on.
So, can you hear me?
We're good.
So I was going to leave banking and do something fun. I thought it would be great to work for a hotel, and out of the blue, just as I was about to accept the job, one of my old bosses from New York called me, and he was running the consumer bank in Atlanta for SunTrust, and so he convinced me to not retire and give it another go for a couple more years. So I did commute. I looked at if you can believe, I looked at the map, and it looked like Hilton Head was close to Atlanta. So I accepted the job, and I commuted there for 2.5 years. I would leave on Monday morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning and get to my desk in Atlanta at their corporate offices by 9, and then leave work and leave on Thursday night and come here, get home by like 10 o'clock at night.
That's a heck of a commute.
It is. It was, I did it for 2.5 years, and you can believe that.
16 isn't so bad, but
Well, I have a flat
75,
tire. Yeah, that's,
not so good. Tell us, so you've got Tim, tell us a little bit about the rest of your family. We know we've got sisters on the call today.
I have my sister, Rayanne Coy, on the call from Chicago, who is, you know, such a supporter. And then I've got my husband, Tim. I have a daughter who is 30. She lives in Charlotte, and I'm a new grandma. So I have a grandson that just turned 6 months old, and my daughter who's married to her high school sweetheart. They both live in Charlotte. And then I have a son who's in the Coast Guard, and he is in Grand Haven, Michigan, and he's married. Yeah, I forgot to tell you, his wife teaches English in Holland.
Holland, Michigan.
Where
That's
Tamra-
where I went to college, at Hope
Yeah.
College in Holland, Michigan. So Claudia and I had another point of connection there with our Western Michigan experience there. So you started off your professional work life as a banker,
Mhm.
right? And you ran, how did this journey happen where you ended up with 115 branches?
Well, for banking is not about finance, believe it or not. It is the banking. I worked in the consumer bank world, which is, if you think of a branch bank that you might go to, I was a banker that ran a branch in my little town where I was raising my kids in Larchmont, New York. And I ended up, so it's more about people, it's more about the customer, it's more about being involved in the community. It's actually a really fun job. And I wanted to move up in Citibank, and so I applied for a job to the next level promotion, which was, I was hoping it was going to be in Westchester where I lived, and instead I ended up getting the position in downtown Manhattan, which is where, you know, the World Trade Centers were, and I had never even been there before. I'd never even
Been in Manhattan?
I had not, no, I'd never been, I was a soccer mom in a small town in Westchester with 2 kids. And all of a sudden now I am in
You're
charge
going to
of
the
downtown.
city.
Yeah, going to the city. So it was the best thing I've ever done in my entire life and career.
So did they keep like giving you one a week until you got to 115 branches?
No,
Or did
first
it like,
so it is kind of funny. I had heard of like Chinatown and Wall Street and Soho and Greenwich and Tribeca. Those were all my new branches, but I had never met the managers. I had never been there before. And the first day of my new job, when you work in Manhattan, you don't drive. You take it was like a 1 hour and 40-minute commute from my house. Because you walk to a train station, you take a train into Grand Central, you then hustle and run to get to the subway, and you take another 40-minute subway down to downtown Manhattan. And then you walk to your office, and you walk to your branches to visit them. So I didn't even know where they were. On my first day there, I was trying to find Chinatown, and I literally had no idea. I was there, but I had to ask a passerby, you know, where were the Chinatown?
Where am I?
And then I just I spent all my time in the field. So I was always in the field, visiting the teams and listening to them and watching them in action with the clients. And just, it's wonderful to be able to be in downtown Manhattan and just walk the streets and see all the restaurants and every day was an adventure, but it was more than an hour to get there and to get home. Yeah.
That's how it was for DC traffic. So
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that. When we moved to Hilton Head, I showed up 15 minutes early
Yeah.
everywhere I went because I'd always built in my traffic time. It was
Exactly.
very embarrassing arriving early to people's house.
Exactly.
We have a question from the chat pod. What was one of your most scariest branch experiences?
Oh, Susan. Thank you, Susan. Well, you know, it's interesting. I actually had a client who was the Bernie Madoff before Bernie Madoff. He banked at my branch. He's on American Greed. He's actually in prison now. But I dealt with that. I dealt with lots of scary experiences. I was with my team during Hurricane Sandy. When Hurricane Sandy hit New York, I actually managed, by the time I rose even higher, actually, after I had downtown Manhattan, then I had midtown Manhattan, then I had all of the boroughs of Manhattan, plus Boston thrown in just for the
Hell of it.
I had went to college there, so I guess they thought I could handle Boston, but then I had the Boston.
It is just a
Marathon.
suburb of New York, isn't
Right.
it?
Oh, well,
Oh.
it is. So I was at the Boston Marathon bombing. But there's always scary experiences because when you're working in a big city bank like Citibank, you have you have hundreds of thousands of customers, and you just can't possibly know everybody you're doing business with, and somehow you have to find people to work for you that are going to be not sit at their desks all day, but be on the front lines, helping as many people as they can. You know, we had 600,000 customers. We processed, I think, over 1 million teller transactions a month. So it's a lot of
moving parts.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. And you know, so I was always fearful of, you know, a bank robber. You know, all kinds of stuff happen in New York, in the boroughs of New York, in the Bronx, in Queens.
So the most important question, Yankees or Red Sox?
Oh, Yankees.
Oh. Go Sox. So when you were in downtown Manhattan with Citibank, 9/11 happened. Can you talk a little bit about your 9/11 experience and, more importantly, the post 9/11 rebuilding process that you were involved with?
Well, for 9/11, I wasn't in Manhattan downtown yet. I was running a branch in Larchmont, New York, where we did have several of our clients work for Cantor Fitzgerald, and they did die in the World Trade Center. And I handled their widows and supported our community through 9/11. But right after that, I felt, I raised my hand. We lost some employees at Citibank who were working at the top of the World Trade Center that day. And so the bank set up a triage site at our branch at 111 Wall Street to work the night shift, handing out socks and coffee to the firemen and first responders. So after I worked all day in Larchmont, I would take the train in at night for 2 weeks. I worked down at the site at our branch, and worked the night shift from 9 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning, helping the firemen and the policemen deal with that. And then I took over downtown Manhattan a couple of years later, and it just was the fear that you had to overcome to think that it was going to happen again, and the fear of the employees that work there, and just recruiting and getting people to want to rebuild. And we did all kinds of things to engage ourselves with the community and to
Make a difference.
Yeah, New Yorkers are resilient. They pull together at times like that, and it was actually a great memory. Yeah,
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about then what happened after 9/11 with you, and did you keep managing the branches, and was Boston with that or after that?
Boston was after that. Yeah, so after that,
Then you really became a remote worker.
No, never remote. No, no. Always in the field. So again, you can't do what I did. You can't work in consumer banking without being out in the field, in the branch, talking to the managers, meeting the clients. So I was never in an office.
Did you live in New York and then you commuted up to Boston?
Yeah. So when the Boston bombing happened, I was in my office, and they called me. My branch was right there at the finish line when something was happening, and they called me to say, hey, what should we do? Should we stay in the branch or should we leave the branch? And the Boston Police Department was coming to the door of the branch to tell the staff there, you need to go home. And so I told them to follow the instructions from the police, to lock the vault and follow the instructions of the police department. And then I was in my office at Court Square, Queens. I went downstairs, hopped in my car and drove up to Boston so that I could be there with them to make sure they all got home. We had 100 employees there, to make sure they all got home safely. And then, you know, as the events unfolded, it went on for a couple of days. And we were all on lockdown there, and but they were safe. And
Very stressful.
yeah, it was fun. No, it was, that's what you do.
That's
Yeah.
called operations.
Yeah, operations.
Operations, yeah. So out of those experiences, the Boston bombing experience and also the 9/11 rebuilding process, how did those become part of your narrative and make you the person you are today? What did you take away from those experiences?
I think I took away, it's really important when you're a leader to be side by side with people that are going through any experience. Roll up your sleeves, be a worker, but also be able to be decisive, be somebody that can comfort, and you know, make sure you show up and lead from the front, was what I learned.
Oh, that's a great one. Lead from the front. I like that.
Any fun questions for me?
Hey, these are fun. Come on. Tell me a little bit. So you went from working at Citibank, where you had been for a long time, and you jumped ship and went to SunTrust. What was that like, leaving one employer and going to another mid to later in your career?
It was fun. SunTrust was a completely different thing. I was not in the field. I was on the product development team, and it was more of a technical job, and I liked it. It was a whole new experience for me. But after I commuted for 2.5 years, I actually my car broke down one night on the way home on Highway 16. And if you know 16, as it goes through Georgia, it's a desolate highway.
Remote.
I actually was raining. A trucker pulled me over. A trucker signaled for me to pull over to tell me that he noticed that I had a flat tire.
Oh.
And so that experience scared me. And I went back to my boss and asked if I could work from home or work closer to home after that. And he let me come be the branch manager here in Hilton Head.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what would you say? We have another question from our chat pod. How did working in Hilton Head compare with New York and Boston?
It was great. It was great. It was, you know why? Because I've always liked working with customers, and I really got to be involved with the small business community in Hilton Head. And I also got to Hilton Head right whenever COVID hit. And so, you know, you're dealing with all the fear there of COVID. You're in a retail bank, you're wearing a mask. And then we also were processing all the PPP loans. So at SunTrust, the branch managers were the ones helping the business clients apply for that paycheck protection. So
And thank God we had the PPP
so
program.
I would going to the restaurants, local restaurants, and helping that owner fill out the application for the funding, and that was fun. You wouldn't get that experience. That's not an everyday.
Personalized service attention was not.
No, but I enjoyed it, so I was glad I had that. And
I have to say, it's actually kind of fun right now when you're going out in the community, because I can remember one of the meetings with Claudia. We went into the branch. She has to let you into the branch.
Yeah.
We're wearing gloves, masks. She's got the face shield on. We're at her desk with her plexiglass, and now here we are today, and we're not masked. So, you know, God is good, and we're getting there with COVID. Thank goodness. Tell me about what advice would you give your younger self working in the financial services industry today?
Well, this is the advice I give to my daughter. I give to anyone: be a woman who supports other women. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. I see somebody raising, yep. Be a woman who goes out of your way to support other women around you. support them through tough times, be a listener, support them through great times, make sure that you're the first person to congratulate somebody. I don't think women can do that much more than they do. And I make sure to tell my daughter that that's important, to be that kind of a woman.
No snarkiness.
No snarkiness.
Yeah, that doesn't get anybody anywhere. What advice would you give your younger self besides that, supporting other women? Anything else? Any career change that you would have done differently, or job that you would have done differently?
No, I think the choices that you make in your life are all good because you learn something about yourself every time.
You do.
I think Sue Grossbeck last week said that she wishes she would have been able to balance work life and personal life a little bit better, right, Sue? And that might have been something that I could have done better, but that's about it. I don't look back with any regrets at all.
Awesome. That's the best way to go. So we've got some
Okay,
rapid
good.
fire questions for Claudia, and we want you to be thinking about some questions you may have for Claudia and putting them in the chat pod. Number one, do you have a best friend?
I have several best friends. I have my sisters, and my sister is on the call right now from Chicago, Rayanne. So I'm lucky I have three sisters, and I'm the oldest of all of us, and so they're my sounding boards. And I have my daughter, and those are my best friends.
And you've got 20
Yes.
new best friends sitting in Port Royal having
Yes.
their watch party
That's right, ladies.
and supporting you. So that's pretty awesome. What was the last book you read?
I'm reading so many different ones. You probably don't. I read Katie Couric's autobiography.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like autobiographies and biographies. I'm reading like Stephen King books. I read fun stuff.
Those are scary. I don't like those. They scare me. Binge watching on television, anything that you have on the recommend list?
Yes. Have any of you seen The Dropout?
No.
Oh my.
What is that on?
It's on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu. It's about the Elizabeth Holmes who ran Theranos.
Theranos.
Very good. I'm binging that. Yeah, and that's my latest.
That's cool. Okay. Favorite drink?
Red wine or a gin and tonic for cocktail hour.
Tasty. Do you have a favorite travel destination?
Right now, I think my favorite travel destination is to Charlotte to see Rory, my grandson.
Do you have a picture?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Do you really want to look at a picture?
We're going to hold a little picture of Rory up. This little baby could be like the Gerber baby.
He's getting baptized this weekend, so I'm going up to see that.
Claudia and I are in an interest group meeting on investments, and she brought him to the last
Here's Rory
meeting.
bouncing in his bouncer.
Adorbs. There he goes.
Can you see it?
Little baby Rory. And he attended our last interest group meeting, so it was really fun to have the newest WAHHI related person with us as well. So Charlotte's your favorite travel
Charlotte, yeah.
destination.
Yeah.
Tell us, do you have a favorite app on your phone?
Yes, I think I love to shop. I love Amazon, so I'm always on Amazon, and Wayfair. Yeah, Amazon, Wayfair.
Claudia and I were sharing before we started that Amazon is like our favorite online shopping experience. And over Christmas, my Amazon guy came to my house. I was on a first name basis with him. I think he came every day. It was so awesome.
Yeah, today my Amazon guy dropped off. My husband saw that I needed to have Keurig for my Keurig machine, descalers, so you can buy K-cups. The Amazon guy delivered them today. Just a box of K-cups.
Love my Amazon. Give them baked goods anytime you can. Any little known fact about you? You've got three sisters, so there's got to be some clothes sharing, maybe some hair pulling, name calling, something in there.
Little known fact, I see my sister wondering what I'm going to say. I have a hidden talent, and my hidden talent is that I control a baton. So we were all majorettes in the high school band, right? And I still know our pregame routine. I can still twirl a baton.
Do you do fire batons?
No, no, sorry, Tamra.
That would be an awesome WAHHI program.
We've got a couple Port Royal ladies who also twirl baton, and we've thought about starting an interest group.
WAHHI talent show. We got a new program.
Yeah, twirl the baton. Anybody else twirl the baton? Oh, we got one.
We got twirlers. That's awesome. How much fun. Favorite thing to do in Hilton Head?
My favorite thing to do in Hilton Head, I have to say, having lunch or a drink with a girlfriend. I
Oh.
love sitting out and talking and chatting or walking with a friend. Oh, pregame routine. Rayanne, my sister is asking me to do the pregame routine. Well, we were from Pittsburgh, so bands and cheerleaders and majorettes were big deals, football teams, things like that. But I won't do the pregame routine here.
I have a friend and she does fire batons. And at her daughter's high school graduation, it was a little too energetic and we had some hair singeing with the fire baton process.
Yeah,
So I don't recommend the fire batons. That's a little problematic.
especially at our age.
Yeah, that's a problem. Let's see, it looks like we've got another message coming in on the chat pod. Oh, we got a lot of, superpower. What's your superpower?
That's my sister. What's my superpower? I think my ability, my worry is my superpower. So a superpower is where you have a strength that can also be your weakness if it's too much. And so I'm always the family worrier. I worry in advance. But I want to make sure everybody is okay. I want to make sure everybody is safe. And so
That's called care and concern.
yeah, care and
Let's
concern.
reframe that. Care and
Yeah.
concern.
Yes, if taken to the wrong degree, it can be worry. But
Yeah.
yes, that's my superpower.
That's awesome. Anybody other have questions? We've got Port Royal having a dance party down there, it looks like on their screen
Oh,
down
there's Joy.
below. Joy's down there. Any other questions for Claudia?
It's going to be a great year coming up in WAHHI, everybody.
You got any previews you want to share?
Well, for the first time ever in 62 years, we're doing long-term planning. We're doing strategic planning. So we have a survey coming out, right?
We do. We've got a member survey coming out within the next week or so. It's going to ask some of your opinions about programming and governance and communications to make sure that we know where we want to be going over the next 3 to 5 years. So we look forward to everybody responding to that.
And today was kind of fun. We have started to meet with the other presidents of all the women's associations in Hilton Head and just exchange ideas. So I thought today was fun. Hearing what
It was
everybody
great.
else is doing. Yeah.
We counted between all of us at the table, we had over 3,000 women represented on Hilton Head in our community. So that's a pretty powerful thing when you put everybody together and figure out what you want to do as a shared objective to benefit others in the community.
Right. And all of them want to work together.
And they do. Good collaboration.
Yeah. So good things coming next year. And it's just wonderful to be in an organization where women truly support each other. And we've got so many great women in this group, just tremendous people with great backgrounds. I'm humbled to be here speaking about mine, really.
It's also very awkward to be speaking about yourself. I've shared that experience with every woman so far. A member spotlight is nobody likes to talk about themselves. And so sometimes it's a little challenging to get that coming out, but hopefully you've been able to enjoy the conversation with each of our member spotlight features. Subject to any final questions that we've got, we're gonna call it a wrap. We are gonna send you out the survey that will give your opportunity to give feedback about the member spotlight format and is it working for you? Do you have other suggestions about how to make it more meaningful next year as we go into it? We do have one final spotlight. Hopefully you'll sign up for it on the event site. It's March 21st. It's Jane McAuliffe. She has just an amazing background in education, in business, in Bluffton. We're excited to have her talk a little bit about her journey, about what led her down to our lovely Low Country and her experience with WAHHI so far. So we're delighted to welcome Jane to Member Spotlight as well. Thank you, Claudia.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Claudia's sisters.
And thank you all for being here. It's so great to see all of my friends and all of the WAHHI women supporting this. I really appreciate this.
We know we're going to have a great next year with
Yeah.
Claudia as our president, and we're super excited to get on with it.
Yes, we are.
We're still celebrating Betty though, and Betty's done an amazing job, and we're so appreciative of Betty and Betty's journey as well. So go back and watch Betty's interview, take a look at Lisa's, and also look at Sue's because it's been a lot of fun. And hopefully each of you are enjoying some good vino as we are for the rest of the afternoon.
That's right.
And God bless. Talk to you guys
Bye,
later.
everybody.